Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I got to show you guys a cool new thing that I got. I got myself these Grumbacher watercolor set, and today we're gonna be doing some swatches and get them into half-pan watercolor containers with the help of a few tools that you can probably find around your house. We're going to be needing a few Q-tips, toothpicks to clean up our edges into the half pans, and a Sharpie to label which tube is going in which container. Finally, my watercolor sketchbook. We're going to be using it just to swatch out everything, and this is a watercolor sketchbook that I bookbinded myself. So I'm not really sure what's going on here, but it's 12 tubes. It was on discount, so as you can see, like, I got it half price, and these are the colors, which is again what I really wanted in a set like this. You have for whatever reason you have 3 reds, 2 yellows, 1 green and 2 blues, and then black and white. So I'm a little curious to see how it is, but it comes with a little palette and a brush, so I'm not really sure. I'm actually quite intrigued. I got these a hot minute ago, but I haven't opened it until like now, so let's see that. Oh, some of these were probably already used. Well, here we have the little tubes. They don't look that bad, to be honest with you. So here's the thing. That's the little palette. Oh, it's plasticky. That's not good. It is quite textured. I don't know if you can hear that, but it is quite textured. So we'll leave that there. Where's the brush? Did it not come with a brush? Oh, I see. So the brush probably was in here, and people just didn't. Well, whatever. We will figure it out. So, yeah. Very interesting. The brush probably was in here, if I'm understanding. Yeah, so it does say un pincel, so yeah, somebody stole the brush with it and opened up some tubes, I'm assuming. That's fine. I can't complain knowing that this was half priced. I didn't have a half pan size or full size pans for watercolors, so I had to order a bag from Amazon, and they go for quite cheap actually. Like this pack of 24 of these little suckers that you see right here went for $8, so it wasn't that bad. If I'm being completely honest, they hold a lot of paint if filled properly. Once I got some of these out, I counted out how much what was the amount of containers that I needed, and I also started to get out some of these toothpicks to just mix up the paint in the container and ensure that the paint touches every spot of the container in the little squares, so we have good adhesion. But as you will see later in the video, I really don't do a good job at spreading my paint evenly, and we have a small casualty in the end. You will see. I did most of the filling off camera because I'm a clown, and I legitimately thought I had filmed the process, but it turns out I didn't. So let's pretend I did show you what all that process looks like, and switch gears to my watercolor sketchbook. It's a watercolor sketchbook that I bookbinded myself, and to be completely honest, I did 3 of these watercolor sketchbooks in different sizes. I have my gigantic tome, this cube by 6, and a smaller one that is for swatching colors while I work on a piece, like a scrapbook size paper, to make sure that my colors are the right ones whenever I'm working on something. I had previously used the first page to swatch my custom watercolor palette that I currently use. And so this time we will be using a ruler and a pencil to create little designated areas to swatch these Grumbacher watercolor paint tubes. I do want to give a disclaimer that I am not in any way sponsored by them, but I wouldn't be opposed to the idea. Anyway, I tried to divide the paper into equal sections, but my brain ain't mathing the way that it should be, because I end up doing 11 of these little sections, and since I divided the paper in half, I ended up with 22 sections instead of the 12 that I needed, or 24 if you really want to like get fancy with it. And I also don't know how to properly do a straight line, so I ended up doubling up on a little bit of a line, and I had to erase the other one. I think it was still useful to leave spaces, but I really do need to relearn how to do fractions again, because this is kind of embarrassing. Anyway, after like 2 days of the paint drying in the pans, we are ready to swatch the colors in my watercolor sketchbook. I wanted to try to see how that felt with both synthetic and dry brushes, but in the end, I don't really use my flathead or Japanese calligraphy brush that you see here. I only use my 2 synthetic water brushes that you see on the left capped. I also have extra napkins around and 2 water jugs of clean water to do this swatches. I learned to keep 2 water jugs from Juicy Ink. One of them will be used to clean our brush and have dirty water in it. The other one is to rinse out the brush. This way I don't muddy the colors in the pan and prevent unwanted mixing. And I did have to ask my dad to open the second jug because it was stuck and I really couldn't open it myself. So let's go ahead and start swatching. Okay, but for real, we're gonna start swatching now. As you can see here, I'm just like grabbing things and prepping things. And I'm actually not surprised that I grabbed the blues first to swatch. I had written on the little pans the tube numbers, so I knew which paint corresponds in case I do want to refill them if I end up using them a lot. I really like the way they look on the pan, by the way. And I can see how well I did fill them up individually with the paint. As you can see here, this one looks really good. Some of these dried really well in the pan with minimum cracking, while others were not so forgiving with me. I wasn't really sure if I didn't put in enough paint or if it was just the formula. I'm not really sure. They do wet really easily, as you can see here. It doesn't really take a lot of water to activate them at all. Like, it was really quick on how to get them reactivated. It's super pigmented and vibrant on the tip of the brush, as you can see here. Like, it's really, it's staining there. And the first blue was really gliding on the paper, and I wasn't sure if I was lacking pigment or if it was supposed to be that transparent, as you will see here in just a second. But it definitely did caught me off guard that it was this color. And I also did a quick water dispersal test with a little bit more water to see if it would feather out or if it would run. But I did notice that it did granulate a little bit when I put in the extra water. Especially when it dried too, like it definitely does look like it did expand a little bit. And you'll see it at the very end of the video. I'll show you what they all end up looking like. But again, I was very confused to see if this was going to be, like if that was going to be the final color once it's dried. So I did go back in there and I grabbed a little bit more. And as you can see here, the thicker that you lay it on, the darker the color is. But if you start to spread out the paint, it definitely looks a little bit clearer. On the bottom swatch, you see the color a little bit better and how dense it can sit on the page without being disturbed too much, and that's information that I definitely do need. that helps me just kind of see how I can do my layers. And the next blue that you see here, it did crack pretty badly. As you can see there, it cracked right in the middle. If the camera can just do the thing, there it goes. But it also activated really easily with the brush as well. And this is more of a cooler blue and a deeper blue, so I think it complements really well the previous blue that I swatched. And the reds also function the same way, with a warm red and a cooler red, as well as the two yellows that you will see soon. At first, the color on the packaging can lie to you, because I legitimately thought that there were 3 reds in this set, but it turns out that it's just a brown that's leaning more towards a yellow hue, and that's going to be the burnt ochre and the burnt sienna. Colors are really similar on the packaging, rather than how it actually comes off from the paint. So it seems to me that this set actually has 3 yellows, 2 reds, 2 blues, a very beautiful green, a black, and a white. The black felt a little bit on par with other watercolor blacks that I have experienced before, minus the Crayola kind, because that's the one that is more of a blue gray kind of hue to it. It's trash. Like, that's the one that I will always dunk on. Like, that Crayola black is not great. It wasn't as pigmented as I had hoped it would be, unless you lay down pretty thick. So, you know, like, I was just like, what's going on here? You know, that black, I had expected it to be a little bit better. Oh, also, you can see here that the white looks pretty crusty, and it didn't sit well within the pan. It just didn't adhere properly, and it just kind of crumbled once I got out of the pan. To tell you the truth, this white was really hard to squeeze out of the tube in the first place, and it was my main worry that the entire tube was dry, or past its shelf life. It was mostly the white color that I was very skeptical about, actually. As far as I had known, white in watercolor can be pretty deceiving and almost not a thing that exists. And the only way that I know how to test a white is to do a black transparency test, which is what I am doing here to swatch with the Sharpie. To my surprise, if you lay it down pretty thickly, it can be quite opaque. But it does leave some streaking when you do it with when you try to do a wash with this specific white. And actually, a lot of these paints kind of reacted weirdly to the paper and the water saturation I did. I'm not really sure if they don't like cold press paper or if the wet on dry technique. But some of these pigments did separate and feather out pretty badly with the water. And also with the scrubbing test too, they came up and reacted really easily. I mean, don't get me wrong, they all look beautiful. Like, look at that spread. That's amazing. It's beautiful. But they definitely do destroy the paper fibers if I scrub too hard, you know? So I guess, like, look how beautiful they all come up with, like the sunshine coming through. And you can really see here the granulation and the separation of some of the paints. And light looks good, if that's what you were going for, but this is definitely not something that I personally like in my watercolors. So I guess I'll give you guys some final thoughts. While again they are super beautiful and highly pigmented from one of the more famous watercolor brands that I know of, they might not be for me in the traditional way that I like to work with my watercolors. I really like to layer a lot, and I do a lot of glazes and washes since I have a pretty good water control, but these scrubs really easily. I can't put this in my custom watercolor palette with the Daniel Smiths and Turner watercolor tubes that I have. Like, they do granulate like the Daniel Smiths, but the big difference is the staining and the scrubbing. The Daniel Smith definitely stains and they don't lift as easily as these do, the Grumbacher ones. But if you try to like scrub it with the Daniel Smith, they don't destroy the paper because they stain it. Compared to these Grumbacher ones, like they lift pretty easily with just a little bit of water, and if you scrub, they definitely do like lift off almost all completely, but they will wreck your paper. It might be good for practicing or for using big washes without much mixing, like just a flat watercolor background, you know? But I don't think these would play nicely with my current custom watercolor palette. So maybe I'll only use these for like studies or maybe limited palette challenges, because they are beautiful colors. I just don't think this would play nicely with my other surprise, to be honest with you. I will also say that I need to ease myself back into playing with watercolors, so maybe I can give these another try later down the line. I will say though, I've never seen watercolor scrub so easily like this, and I know I keep mentioning it, but it definitely does have me shaken. You will hear a little bit in a couple minutes, just a little clip of me like reacting to the watercolors. You'll hear it in real time how it all looks. And again, I had to leave a little bit of room just so you guys can see, like, it does granulate, it does lift. And this is completely dry. This is what they look like completely dry, by the way. You're gonna also see another one with them still being wet. Put that in my palette. I can't put that in my palette. Unless I separate them. Like, wow, they scrub so easily. Wow, they really do scrub so easily. Wow, I don't know if this is a good investment or a bad investment, but I'm shook. But okay, wig. Okay, and here you'll see them still wet, so they do dry and get a little bit dull once they do dry. But then freshly wet looks a little bit better in my opinion. Once they do dry and some of the water evaporates, then yeah. Here's what they look like before I did the scrubbing, and I did really go hard on rubbing some of the paper texture. That ochre came out really chunky, like chalky. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but after the fact that I did the filming, I rubbed it really hard and it did like smudge a little bit. So I would say really be careful on how much you rub it too. And this is what they look like while they were wet. And yes, I was listening to this while I switch. If you have made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for your time. If you feel that I have earned your subscription, then feel free to follow my channel and any other social medias that you might have that I also might be on. If you'd like to support me in my art journey, please consider supporting me through Patreon. I have different dollar tiers that are available for you to check out right now in some exclusive patron-only videos, like my studio tour and an exclusive watercolor practice piece that I did for my patrons. It's there for you guys to check out. My $5 patrons will also receive a shout out at the very end of my videos and get early access to do a lot of my artistic projects way in advance before being posted on YouTube or any of my art accounts on social media. My patrons also get access to a Discord server where we can hang out, chat, and see what I'm up to. Again, thank you guys so much for sharing a little bit of your day with me. I hope you guys are having a great day wherever you are, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye, I'll see you guys later.